When I was 16, the year Rongqing Lu Dai brought the jade pendant to acknowledge Qin. My nemesis from my past life's world appeared. Exactly the same as before. It's just that this time, I will arrange a good show for her. Let her suffer being unloved by father and mother. A delicate flower who brings about her own doom. And then accompany my past life's wolfish and ambitious top scholar husband to share a dangerous fate. I will personally send them into the hell of Avicii. Hello everyone. Welcome to Xiaomi's Novel Gallery. Thank you for watching and subscribing. The story officially begins now. The door gave a light creak and was gently pushed open. I looked up and saw Xiao Chui walking in with a bowl of medicine and a plate of candied fruits. Miss, it's time to take your medicine. The nearby little Taoyao quickly arranged a soft cushion behind me, helping me sit up. I leaned a bit on the soft couch, took the medicinal bowl, and drank it in one go. I wiggled my fingers, not taking the candied fruit that was handed over, then took a silk handkerchief and gently wiped the corner of my mouth. Xiao Cui, seeing that I had finished the medicine, leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Madam is a bit better today. You can get out of bed and take a few steps." I nodded slightly, raised my hand to signal her to withdraw. The maids, seeing this, moved softly and quietly left the room. This was the third day of my rebirth. When I first woke up, I was still immersed in the fear of being fed poisoned wine in my previous life, breaking out in a cold sweat on the spot and almost fainting in public. At that time I had just been brought back to the mansion by the guard, and everyone thought I had been frightened. Grandma held me, tears welling in her eyes, calling me, "Baby." Mother leaned in father's arms, crying uncontrollably. I immediately understood. I had returned to the crucial moment of my childhood when I went to the countryside, encountered bandits, and got separated. In a past life, the wet nurse and I were kidnapped by bandits. And it wasn't until I turned 16 that Rongqing Lu Kai appeared, returning as the rightful eldest daughter of the Marquis's household with a jade pendant to acknowledge Qin. Back then, my father doted on her, my mother spoiled her, and even the fiancé I fell in love with at first sight became her subordinate. I have always been timid since I was a child, and after meeting bandits I closed my door and never stepped out, afraid to leave home even a step. My mother, having lost her eldest daughter, has always kept distance from me. This younger daughter, with her overflowing maternal love left untended. When Rongqing and Louis return, my mother's affection will burst forth like a landslide, pouring all onto them, with gold and silver, jewels, brocade and satin continually sent into their courtyard. When the emperor granted the marriage to the he originally intended for her, but she pretended to decline, claiming that she grew up in the countryside since childhood and did not want to marry early and leave her parents, wanting to show more filial piety. This marriage arrangement naturally fell to me. At the spring banquet, when I first laid eyes on him, I was moved by the spirited young man. Unfortunately, I misjudged him, confusing a wolfish ambition for deep affection and camaraderie. After my illness healed, I began to wake at dawn and dusk every day, regardless of wind or rain, never missing a single bow to honor. My mother had not yet recovered from the pain of losing her daughter. She was daydreaming and growing thinner by the day. I, in plain clothes with my belt untied, served by her side, personally brewed medicines and served soups, and every night slept on a small mat to keep vigil. When my mother was most drowsy, she still clearly knew that I was keeping company by her side. That day, I opened my eyes on the small bed by the bedside and saw my mother half reclining against the bed, giving me a faint smile. I knew that my first step had been the right one. Not long after, I was summoned into the palace by the Empress Dowager to become a princess's reader. The Empress Dowager had a close relationship with my grandmother in the palace. After ascending the throne, she also received strong support from the Marquis family, which helped the current emperor secure his throne. The younger members of the Marquis family were almost all raised under her care. Their bond was more than ordinary. Because of the upheaval in my family, she took me into the palace as a reader early on, first to take care of me, and secondly to maintain the affection between the royal family and the Marquis family. The crown prince and the third princess Fujian are full siblings, both born of the empress. The second princess and the fourth prince are born of the consort. So in the harem there were clearly two opposing factions. I resolved to cast off the timidity and cowardice of my past life, and relied on memories from my previous life to skillfully maneuver among the princes and princesses. It didn't take long to forge deep ties with the crown prince and the third princess, becoming their most favored reader beside them. I want to see, in this life, without my strong support, how Lin Hong would become the darling beside the crown prince. At 16, Rongqing Lugua actually appeared once again. Just as in the previous life, the gatekeeper servitor reported, "There is a young lady outside the manor, holding a jade pendant, earnestly requesting an audience." She was brought into the manor, and upon seeing the mother seated at the main chair, her knees bent and she was about to kneel and bow. Mam Wang, who stood beside the mother, immediately stepped forward to stop her. She looked up in astonishment, appearing both on the verge of crying and not quite crying, which was rather comical. "Sister, please don't mind." I sat nearby and lazily spoke. "In the past few years, there have been too many sisters seeking to match with the Ho family. You'll need to wait a few more days so we can thoroughly investigate. But I have the jade pendant as proof," she cried out anxiously. "The older sister who comes every time brings the jade pendant just like yours," I replied calmly. Mother rubbed her throbbing temples. "Weary, Madam Wang. Take her to the guest courtyard to stay for a few days." With that, Mother turned and left the flower hall, not glancing at her again. Rong Qinglu watched Mother's retreating silhouette, then glanced at me beside her, who wore a half-smile, bit her lip, and followed Madam Wang with unwillingness. As I watched her back, the corner of my mouth lifted slightly, though the smile did not reach my eyes. For years now, I have carefully planned it. Every so often, a woman with a similar figure and the same jade pendant would come to the house to acknowledge kin, entering with kneeling and weeping. At first Mother was excited, but more and more copies of the impostors appeared, and she had grown numb, even unwilling to meet them again. Such methods, though it guilt Mother, truly wore down her expectations. It cannot be that if one person cries, you believe one person. That night, my father and elder brother learned that another relative had come to recognize him in the guest house, and they only uttered a faint, "Got it," with no further reaction. In just a few days, the jade pendant was clearly confirmed to be genuine, and the entire Ho family was filled with joy, bustling with activity. Rongqing and Lu Wenjun respectfully kneeled before their parents to pour tea, pay respects to their ancestors, and enter the jade butterfly ranking. With one leap, she became the young lady of the Yong'an Marquis Mansion. So what? A daughter who is rarely around cannot compare to a daughter who is unwavering in wind and rain, who serves at my knees. I have studied poetry and books since childhood, exuding a bearing that no girl who grew up in the countryside could match. Moreover, my parents' affection for her has long been worn down by those impostors, and now only a few scraps of sentiment remain, as if lost and then found again. On top of that, I always take the lead and give her no room to maneuver. Even if she returns, she's only returning, nothing else can be touched. As the melts in spring, water drips onto the earth. The early spring banquet returns. The palace begins sending invitations long before, and after the announcing of the results. It is time to hold a feast in the imperial garden. In my previous life, Rong Qinglu and I attended this very banquet, where we together encountered Lin Hongji, the top scholar known throughout the capital. Alas, no one knew that this jade-faced young man inside was already decayed and foul. The carriage rolled over the cobblestone road, giving a faint creak, as the wagon swayed gently. My thoughts gradually emptied. The carriage came to a slow stop, and I hazily looked up. A clear, crisp voice from outside the door of the eunuch said, "Esteemed guests, please alight from the carriage." Xiao Chui near the carriage lifted the curtain, and the imposing gates of the imperial palace came into view. After passing through the palace and the colonnades, there lay the banquet in the imperial garden. I entered the hall to bow and greet the throne, and looked up to see several young men standing beside the prince. I clenched the silk handkerchief in my hand, resentment churning in my heart. Yet I remained expressionless and quietly took my seat. During the banquet, the fourth prince proposed a competition in archery. A smiling, white-clothed young man stepped forward, drew the bow to a full moon, and the sharp arrow sped out, achieving a double hit. The emperor's dragon-like expression brightened with joy. The boy turned back, spring petals whirling down to his shoulders. I saw his bright, gleaming eyes. the reddening cheeks of Rongqinglu beside him, and the scorching affection hidden in the second princess's eyes. During the banquet, I had someone pass a message to the three princesses, and before long, one after another, they stepped away quietly under the pretext of not being able to hold their liquor. Rongqinglu did not want to miss a chance to show off. He just smiled, reminded me twice to stay safe, and then did not look back. I slipped into the appointment quietly. Outside the hall, the princess's personal lady-in-waiting saw me, nodded slightly, and pushed the door open to bring me inside. Looking up, I saw the smiling third princess, Fuzhen, directly ahead of me. Thinking of the stories I was about to tell, my eyes warmed and tears instantly welled up. Fuzhen was startled, quickly pulling out a silk handkerchief to step forward, wiping away my tears as she asked urgently, "What happened? Who bullied you?" "Fuzhen," I burst into tears, tightly embracing her. Don't cry. Don't cry. If anyone makes you unhappy, I'll stand up for you." Fuzhen was at a loss for what to do, and could only pat my back gently, soothing me in a soft voice. No matter the reincarnations, the friendship between me and Fuzhen is the most sincere. I entered the imperial palace since childhood, suffered many grievances, and she always spoke up for me. Wherever I went, she traveled with me and helped me forge connections. With her around, no one dares to be disrespectful to me. After I married, she worried that I might not live well and repeatedly praised me in front of the emperor. Lin Hongji's rise to power was greatly aided by Fuzhen. What had I done in the past? Raised a tiger to cause trouble, personally bred a hungry wolf, and in the end it turned on me, not sparing even the person I value most. The thought of the past tragedy fills me with unbearable sorrow, and tears flow uncontrollably. In my tearful, blurred vision, I grabbed her hand. "Fuzhen, can you believe me?" "I believe you. Why wouldn't I?" She roughly wiped my face with a silk handkerchief, chattering away. "Since childhood, you've been the only one who treats me most sincerely. Others either want to profit from me or flatter me superficially, which is completely pointless. Do you still remember? When we were little and His Highness the Crown Prince was unhappy, I came to see you, and you pretended not to bother you with your homework and lied to me that the Crown Prince was bored and needed me to seek some amusement. I broke into tears and then laughed. Remember?" She pouted. "You grabbed a big mantis, lifted it to the Crown Prince's face, and jumped onto him directly. The Crown Prince's face turned pale at once. It caused me to be punished with copying an entire book of the Analects. I gradually stopped crying, and Fuzhen sighed lightly and asked, "What exactly happened to make you lose your composure like this?" I tidied my appearance and, with a formal bow, said, "Please, Your Highness, dismiss my attendants." Fuzhen dismissed the palace maid and helped me to my feet. "What is it that makes you bow so deeply?" she scolded. "Do you believe in the past lives? And in this life as well?" Gazing at Fuzhen, I slowly sat down and told her, in detail, about my pitiable past life. The long life can be summed up in the time of half a teacup. "So you mean, in your past life you married a top scholar, your own older sister usurped the throne, and you were poisoned to death?" After listening, Fuzhen was stunned into silence. "This is not the key point." I lowered my head despondently. "The key point is that after he became the prime minister, he committed the great treason of betraying the prince and implicating the Ho family. I owe you and the prince an apology for my trust." Spouting such nonsense, Fuzhen shot me a cold glance. "This is all matters from a past life. In this life, nothing has happened yet. Let's plan carefully and eliminate this hidden danger." After much reflection, I recall that in the previous life, once Lin Hongji achieved success, the crown prince lowered his guard and entrusted him with important responsibilities. How can we completely sever this top scholar's political career? The two of us, Fuzhen and I, fell silent for a moment. A few days ago, Sister Furue's son-in-law, who favored his concubine, killed his wife. Father Emperor exploded in anger. Fuzhen suddenly mumbled. The eldest son-in-law could be the Inspector General of Ganzhou or the 5th rank Imperial Guard. Such offenses cannot be punished. But the censorate has already submitted a memorial requesting a decree. The son-in-law's official position shall not exceed the 9th rank. Although Father Emperor kept the memorial aside, Consort Shu prays for the great princess, kneeling for hours and crying for a divorce. I suddenly looked up. The divorce of the princess is a major matter, but to protect the princess, His Majesty will surely issue this decree. Certainly. Fu Zhen's lips curved into a slight smile. Xu Fei never intended to get a divorce in the first place. In that case, as long as Lin Hongji is tied to a certain princess, once the edict is issued, his prospects will surely be ruined. I met Feng Zhen's gaze, and we spoke in unison. Second princess. She laughed heartily. She has always loved handsome men, and this time it's just right to fulfill her wish. I'm afraid the second princess won't be easily hooked. I was a bit worried. That'll be easy enough. A hint of cunning flashed in Fu Zhen's eyes. If it's what I want, which of her things hasn't she snatched up? As for Rong Qinglu, I'll see how she schemes to cling to the top scholar for the rest of her life. We lingered for a while, tidied ourselves, and returned to the banquet. The emperor had already left, leaving only the prince and princess entertaining the guests. From afar, we could see Rong Qinglu and a group of noble ladies surrounding the second princess. Fu Zhen's eyes flickered, and he whispered, "We need to think of a plan to make her come along." She spoke, then pulled me toward Lianqing Pond. The second princess had long since seen us, noticing that I and Fu Zhen behaved differently from others, not joining in the lively crowd but instead deliberately avoiding it. She felt a sudden doubt in her heart. "That woman is your younger sister." A noblewoman glared at me, disdainfully asking Rong Qinglu. "Indeed, my younger sister." Rong Qinglu forced a wry smile. "Since childhood, my younger sister has been close to the third princess. I just returned to the mansion and haven't had time yet to cultivate a bond with her." "You still defend her?" Who doesn't know Rong Qingtong is desperately clingy to the third princess? A miss from the Ning family despised her. The second princess suddenly spoke. "Are you Rong Qinglu? Is your sister Rong Qingtong there?" Rong Qinglu hurriedly stepped forward. "Return to the princess. It is indeed she." The second princess let out a cold snort. She intended to make things difficult for her, but then thought that sowing discord between the two would hurt Rong Qingtong even more. She softened her expression, waved her hand and said, "Come with me and see what they are secretly up to secretly doing. You are the eldest sister. It is most appropriate for you to teach them the rules of the inner palace." "Yes," Rong Qinglu answered meekly. On the other side, Fu Zhen ordered his trusted palace maids, "Find a way to have the top scholar and the second princess meet." The maid honored the command and withdrew. Fu Zhen turned his head and glanced, and indeed saw the second princess bringing Rong Qinglu along. As the two of them approached the corner of the corridor and hid, Fu Zhen deliberately raised his voice. "Qing Tong, do you know who the new top scholar is this year?" "My daughter does not know. But what outstanding qualities do I have?" I pretended to be shocked. In the past I only heard others praise him. Today, upon seeing him, I know he not only has great talent but also resembles Panin in looks. I have reached suitable marriage age, and if I could win such a husband, I would surely surpass my second sister by a margin. "Princess, be careful with your words. It would damage your purity and fame." I hurried to stop her. "Look at you, so cowardly." Fu Zhen curled his lips. "Come, after the Qingming festival, I'll go beg your majesty to grant the marriage." The two of us, Fu Zhen and I, turned to leave, and the second princess and Rong Qinglu walked out from the end of the corridor. The two of them looked extremely ugly, trying to step on me. The second princess gritted her teeth. Rong Qinglu was even more anxious. If Lin Hongji became the imperial son-in-law, she would have no chance to cling to him. She was no match for Rong Qingtong and had no relationship with the princess. "Go back to your family and tell your sister not to rush into everything." The second princess vents her anger on her, flicking her sleeve and leaving. Rong Qinglu stood frozen in place, his face pale, and he dared not make a sound. The second princess walked along the lotus clean pool, intending to seek her royal mother, but she inadvertently ran into an embrace. She was about to become angry when she looked up and saw Lin Hongji, whose headwear shone like jade. "Princess, please don't blame me. I didn't clearly see it and disturbed you." Lin Hongji hurriedly cupped his hands in a bow, face full of apology. The second princess's cheeks blushed instantly. Stammering, she said, "It's not your fault. I didn't notice either." Offending the princess. "I am willing to die as compensation," said Lin Hongji. The second princess had long been entranced by his appearance, and after a moment of stupefaction, she spoke softly. If you truly want to apologize, come to this place at this time tomorrow, and bring a bouquet of flowers to see me. Lin Tongzi looked up and saw the second princess becoming more captivating under the backdrop of 100 flowers. His heart warmed, and he answered an agreement again and again. The two of them talked happily. Fusion and I hid behind the artificial mountain, taking in everything with our eyes, ensured no one was around, and quietly withdrew. Back in the sleeping palace, Fusion let out a derisive snort and ordered the palace maids, tomorrow at Lianqing Pond, assign someone to guard it well and not allow anyone to disturb. After returning to the mansion, there is no need to worry. I will regularly send you letters. Fusion reminded me. I smile and nod. In the following days, things develop as we predicted. Rapidly, the second princess's feelings for Lin Hongji gradually grow, and in the end, the second princess disguises herself to leave the palace and travels with him to enjoy mountains and rivers. After reading the secret letter, I personally light it and burn it, then command the servants, find a way to let the young lady know that the top scorer and the princess are having private meetings outside. Since Lin Hongji became the top student in high school, everything has been smooth sailing, and he inevitably becomes arrogant. He believes that with the support of the Yong and Marquis family and the princess's favor, his future is limitless. The only thing that is out of order is being rejected when attempting to align with the fourth prince. In his youth, when the fourth prince was gaining experience among the common people, he once helped Lin Hongji who was in trouble. Thus he mistakenly thinks he has become the fourth prince's confidant. After high school, he confessed his ambitions to the fourth prince, wanting to repay the favor from that year, but was politely refused with the reason that the country is peaceful and stable. There is no need for reckless actions. He took it as the fourth prince being cautious and concealing his true intentions, and did not think much further. Just as the second princess took the initiative to goodwill, he hatched a plan for a win-win. If he became the son-in-law, he would also arrange to marry Rong Qinglu as a concubine, which would mean backing two powerful backs, the Ho family and the imperial throne. No matter whether the crown prince or the fourth prince wins, he could sit firmly on the fishing platform. So, when Rong Qinglu arrives to question him about having an affair outside, he pacifies her with kind words, swears by heaven that this life he loves only her. Then he turns to the second princess, and with sweet words, he bewilders the second princess to the point of losing her wits. When the second princess shyly disclosed that she was already 2 months pregnant, Lin Hongji's sanity instantly returned. If His Majesty learns of this, are you stupid? The second princess chided. Of course you ask Mother Empress for help. How could you tell Father Emperor directly? Then you can say it was an accidental premature birth, and you'll get away with it. Lin Hongji kept nodding, embracing the two princesses, envisioning a bright future ahead. The next day, the second princess entered the palace early, dismissed the palace attendants, and had a secret talk with the imperial concubine. After listening, the imperial concubine was shocked and covering her chest. What audacity you have, Mother Empress. Lin Hongji is the newly crowned top scholar. With his help, fourth brother will be as strong as a tiger with wings. The imperial concubine's face eased a little, then she pinched her forehead in frustration, saying, but how can you lose your chastity before marriage? If Father the Emperor finds out, Mother Empress, help me, I won't marry anyone but him. The second princess coquettishly swayed the imperial noble consort's arm. The imperial noble consort sighs reluctantly. If you stay obediently in the sleeping palace, I will handle this matter myself. Outside the hall, the fourth prince had long heard this exchange. Since childhood he knew that the crown prince was fated to inherit the throne, and had already told their father that he had no interest in vying for the position. Yet Mother Empress and the second sister were both strong-willed and competitive. Unable to sort out the situation, if he did not express his stance, the entire imperial noble consort's faction would be dragged into the abyss. With that in mind, he turned and headed toward the crown prince's east palace. That night, the emperor came to the concubine's palace to dine. The concubine served tea herself. After the emperor finished rinsing his mouth, he spoke softly. Why suddenly think of giving Furong a marriage? A few days ago you said you'd keep her longer. The concubine let out a sorrowful sigh. A girl growing up cannot be kept. It's better to find her a good husband. Then I can rest easy. Beloved consort, Whom do you favor? The emperor's gaze was calm as he looked at her. The concubine's heart jolted, and she forced out the words. New top scorer Lin Hongji. Talent and looks in abundance. Fit to marry the princess. The emperor fell silent for a moment, then suddenly laughed and said, That pleases me greatly. Tomorrow I shall issue a decree to bestow marriage. The noble consort rejoiced beyond measure and hurriedly knelt to thank the emperor. Little did she know. In the afternoon the crown prince and the fourth prince had come to pay their respects together and had already laid everything bare. The emperor's gaze toward the noble consort grew cold. He had personally tutored these sons, taught them to be friendly to each other, but the noble consort alone harbored reckless infatuation. Very well. Once the marshal's edict is issued, she will lose her illusions. A mere top scholar would try to disrupt the royal affairs. Ridiculous. The next day, the royal betrothal edict arrived at the top scholar's mansion, and Lin Hongji instantly became the talk of the town. Rong Qinglu, upon hearing the news at the mansion, accidentally knocked over a teacup, but forced herself to act calm. I didn't rest well last night. My hand shook. When you're tired, step back and rest. The mother's tone was cold and without warmth. Rong Qinglu replied with a bow, hurriedly retreating, not noticing her mother's strange behavior at all. Any news? The mother looked at me, her eyes full of longing. A few days ago, I asked Fuzhen to send people to secretly investigate Rong Qinglu's origins. She had memories even before she got lost. Yet she waited until she was 16 to return and recognize her family. With many oddities. In my previous life I was blinded by hatred. Now I'm suddenly awakened. She might be an imposter, but the jade pendant is real. If she is fake, then my true eldest sister must have already met with misfortune. Thinking of this, I broke out in a cold sweat. Fuzhen immediately dispatched more people to pursue it with all their might. The scout has found Lin Hongji's old home, Linjia village. I whispered, the village is remote. I'm afraid of drawing snakes from the grass, so I didn't dare go in deeper. Mother's eyes reddened, but she patted my hand to soothe me. We've waited for so many years. Waiting a few more days won't hurt. Don't alert the Lin family. On the other side, Rong Qinglu delivered a secret letter to the Zhuangyuan mansion, then changed his clothes and quietly left the mansion in disguise. Lin Hongji received the letter and hurried to the rear courtyard annex. As the door opened, Rong Qinglu rushed into his arms. He drew her inside, closed the door, and spoke softly to comfort her. Why the sudden betrothal? Rong Qinglu's eyes were tearful. I do not know either. The imperial will is inscrutable. Lin Hongji feigned concern. Be at ease and win the hearts of your parents firmly in the Ho residence. Once I enter the mansion, I will find a way to take you as my primary wife. Rong Qinglu asked again. Rong Qingtong always opposes me. I fear she will suspect my background. Don't worry. Lin Hongji sneered coldly. When she was rescued, she hit her head and had long been amnesiac. I ordered the old servant to guard the old residence. Surrounded by mountains on all sides, she can't possibly escape. Rong Qinglu breathed a sigh of relief and snuggled back into his arms. The two of them didn't notice that a shadow quietly swept past the gap behind the door and vanished without a trace. In the Yong'an Marquis mansion, after the eldest brother finished reading the secret report sent by Fuzhen, he slammed the teacup in anger. What a complete reversal of circumstances. What a Lin Hongji. It is not wise to delay. Please have the eldest brother personally go to Linjiakan to fetch the elder sister. I said in a low voice. All right. I entrust you with this. Mother is stronger than we imagined. Nodding with tears. Go quickly. I entered the palace with the token and met Fuzhen. She sneered. I initially thought it was just about vying for favor. Never did I expect this to be a complete fraud. I have sent people to rescue your legit sister. Don't worry. I never expected that second sister would become amnesiac. I cried. I don't know how much hardship she has endured all these years, and what fate awaits her after my death in the previous life. Well, the enemy isn't my biological sister, so we should be happy. Fuzhen smiled to comfort me. The person has been found. The hardship is over, and sweetness follows. I forced a smile through my tears. I took my mother to the manor outside the city, claiming she was unwell and needed to escape the heat. When I saw a slender figure standing beside my eldest brother, her brows and eyes being extremely like my mother, she burst into tears. No jade pendant needed. With just a glance, I knew she was my true eldest sister, Rong Qinggu. She stepped forward, clumsily wiping tears from me and my mother, and spoke softly. Although I have no memories of childhood, as soon as I see you, I feel close to you, perhaps because of blood ties. Mother wept uncontrollably and clung to her. Rong Qinggu smiled at me. Sister, all these years, it's been hard for you to take care of mother. I could no longer bear it and, crying, rushed forward to hug her. In the previous life, I joyfully welcomed the eldest sister back, knowing her means were vile, yet thinking of her suffering. I endured everywhere, even sacrificing my life to pave a bright future for her. In the end, I realized I had mistaken a fish's eyes for pearls. To avoid alerting the snake by startling it, Mother and Rong Qinggu temporarily stayed at a separate residence, with Big Brother remaining to guard. I returned to the capital with peace of mind, protected by guards sent by Fujian. The counterfeit Lu Jinglu saw me return to the estate alone and grew even more unscrupulous, frequently leaving the mansion for private meetings with Lin Hongji. On the second day of the second princess's wedding, the censorate issued an edict. A son-in-law cannot hold a position higher than 9th rank. With this order, the once hot top scholar son-in-law instantly became someone everyone avoids. Inside the princess residence, Lin Hongji's face turned pale as he knelt to receive the decree. He was originally a 7th rank Hanlin compiler. Though his rank was not high, he held real power and had a great chance of promotion. Now, even this position was taken away. The second princess had pleaded for him many times, and the concubine originally wanted to help as well. But after the fourth prince's persuasion, the concubine no longer mentioned the matter. The second princess cried and made a scene, and the concubine simply closed her doors and would not see her, allowing her to rest and bear the child safely in the princess residence. Lin Hongji hit wall after wall, his ambition undying, and he unexpectedly cast his gaze toward the prince of the vassal state that paid tribute to the court. During the 3-day festival, when the vassal state met with the court, he conceived a plan to betray his country. Only by allying with the vassal state could he rise again to a high position. That night, Lin Hongji sneaked into the vassal state's embassy, kneeling to promise. Within 3 days, I will present the capital's military defense map and the palace secret passage map to demonstrate my sincerity. The vassal state's prince was overjoyed. If it succeeds, I will surely petition my father the emperor to grant you a high official title. Then we will work from within and without to seize the emperor and take the capital. The two exchanged a knowing smile, colluding with each other. Late at night, a shadow slipped into the young and Marquis's study, rummaging through chests and cabinets. Finally, in a hidden compartment in the wall, they found a defense map, a secret tunnel map, and a sealed letter. The seal read, "There are still secret items in the Marquis's study. I leave this to probe further. After the matter is accomplished, do not forget to help me leave." After reading it, Lin Hongji casually burned the secret letter, sneering, "The benevolence of a woman. Once the matter is finished, who will still care about her?" He asked the maidservant. Did the second princess return to the mansion? The old nurse conveyed the message. The princess will stay in the palace to dine with the noble consort. She will not return tonight. Lin Hongji, without a doubt there was someone else, disguises himself, and heads straight for the embassy with the blueprint. The crown prince's strategists of the vassal state compare the drawings, confirm they are correct, and immediately decide. Strike tonight. The crown prince of the vassal state had long secretly sent a unit of soldiers to infiltrate the capital city, splitting into 2 routes. He and Lin Hongji bring an elite team to sneak into the palace through a secret passage. At the end of the secret passage, Lin Hongji easily dodges the guards and continues to lead the way. Just as they are about to step out of the passage, torches suddenly flare up around them, lighting the night. Fall back quickly. The crown prince of the vassal state is terrified. The black-clad guards closed the secret passage, and the crown prince and the fourth prince walked out slowly, ordering someone to throw the captive confidant of the vassal state to the ground. Everyone, seize them. His Majesty has waited for a long time. The guards surged forward, subduing everyone. Lin Hongji's legs went weak with fear, and he shouted in grievance. It was the Marquis of Yong'an who instructed him. It was his daughter who handed me the map of the secret passage, to frame me. Take a careful look. Is this the eldest daughter of the Marquis's house? I sneered coldly. The imposter Rong Qinglu was pushed out tied up with 5 flowers. It's her. Rong Qingtong framed me. Lin Hongji knelt crazily. Her real name is Tang Susu. Disguising herself as the Rong family's legitimate daughter, is she worthy? I spoke coldly. Do you think the maps of military defenses could be easily obtained? My father has long led troops to campaign, attacking the vassal state. Your confidant, as soon as he left the embassy, was beheaded. The crown prince of the vassal state clenched his teeth in fury, glaring at Lin Hongji. How dare you deceive me? Throw him into the dungeon, the emperor ordered in a deep, stern voice. Lin Hongji was dragged away like a dead dog, crying out continuously, I'm innocent. Inside the dungeon, Lin Hongji curled up in the corner, muttering to himself. I walked to the cell door, rewarded the jailer with an ingot of gold, and the jailer laughed and stepped back. Let me out. You framed me. The second princess won't neglect me. He grabbed the bars and shook them frantically. I feigned ignorance, speaking lightly. The noble consort fears the matter of your treason will implicate the 2 princesses. She has long forced the second princess to fall pregnant, and the 4th prince will issue commands to send the second princess to a fief. Once the princess recovers her health, there will be a new bridegroom to replace you, the traitor who betrayed the country. I leaned down, a cold smile curling on my lips. 3 days from now at noon, you will commit the treasonous act at the gate of noon and face the extreme penalty. People in the world will not remember the famous top scholar who lit up the capital. They will remember you as the traitor who ruined the Lin family. Lin Hongji's eyes burned with rage, and his throat issued a hoarse hiss. I turned and waved a hand. A few prison guards led in a terrifyingly pallid woman, opened the cell door, and tossed her inside. This is the last gift I'm giving you. Enjoy it well, my lord husband. Lin Hongji looked up and saw a terrifying scar running from the woman's brow to her chin, and he was scared out of his wits. Red Wolf, why do you betray me? The woman asked mournfully. I turned away and did not look back at the wretched scene behind me. Sunlight outside the prison is bright, and Fujian stands not far away, giving me a smile. The old feud is settled. For the rest of my life, it will be a brilliant and dazzling journey for Rong Qingtong.